welcome to Reelin Films. I do hope that you enjoy this video. Don't forget, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell. Like that you guys can get notified for anything and everything movie and series related here at Reel in Films. I hope you enjoy this video. Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you doing today?
Hey, John, I'm good. Thanks. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, thank you for giving us the time to talk about your role in the film Float. And I gotta say, it's a phenomenal film, and your role is very important in regards to the plot line and the interaction with the main character. So, Michelle, what got you interested to be part of this project?
I liked Float from the beginning. It was a great script. I was very excited to work with Sharon, who's a female Asian director, and seeing this kind of genre, which is a romance, um, having it be cast with an Asian female lead, and so you have an Asian family at the center. That was very exciting to me because you don't get to see that very often. And I've, you know, been doing this for a very long time to notice when there are certain projects that really kind of, you want to flag those projects and you want to be a part of them because they are challenging expectations within their genre. So I was very excited to play Rachel.
That's one of the things that I did get to when I spoke with Sharon. She did mention that the story of Float touches bases a lot in cultural backgrounds, being the fact that our main character goes ahead and goes through this process of like telling her parents how she feels uh, by being in an Asian culture family. I wanted to know if you identified yourself with the main character as well, with this cultural background that the film brings in the story.
Absolutely. It's a very strong theme, which is having to individualize within this kind of culture that values the family over the individual. And, having been raised in America, we are very, very centered on the individual. And I think there's pros and cons to both types of cultures, the way they approach the family or the individual. And in this case, I felt like I was both Rachel and Waverly, because I've been in Waverly's shoes where I've had to stand up to my parents. And I would say, maybe in my younger years, that was a very big part of my life, which was to not let my family down. Um, so I understand that experience. And then with Rachel, it was for me like a personal longing of I wish I had a voice of reason, a voice who could guide me through that process. And that's how I envisioned Rachel, was that she was the ally we wish we all could have, who's a relative, who's close enough to the situation, understands, but also can give you permission to be who you want to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I wanted to know, Michelle, my bad, Michelle, did you add any more to your character than there was? Did you add like more I don't know, so a little bit more personality or your personal touch to the character?
I think you always do as an actor, whether you like it or not. I don't think you can help but be who you are when you're truly present. But I think I understand what you're asking, and that, did I add any particular colors that maybe Sharon wasn't expecting? And from the beginning, I thought maybe she was a little bit zanier or a little bit quirkier. And so I was adding a little bit more of a comedic approach to Rachel. And I think what you have in the film is maybe like a fine tuning of that with Sharon's tastes of grounding Rachel. Uh, because we've seen that kind of quirky sidekick aunt in that romantic narrative of, you always have that crazy character that's kind of like bringing the comic relief.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what I thought I was doing. And I think Sharon would kind of, grade date that so that there's a little bit of it in there, but not as much as I originally thought. But enough that we know that we are in a romance. It's not all Rachel doesn't take herself so seriously, but at the same time, her advice is very grounded and it does feel very sincere and authentic.
Do you think that the fact that this film comes from a book that is from a platform called this Wattpad, do you think that um this will be the future of other like book adaptations, being the fact that we're reaching to a very major digital world? Do you think that we're going to see more recurrent films like these, that the author is not a, let's say, a renowned name author like J.K. Rowling's or James Patterson? It could be somebody that just wrote a book on Wattpad because they wanted to tell a story. Do you think that we're going to see this more often in adaptations for films?
I think so. Yeah, I think that is very much how Hollywood is combing for material, they're looking for original IP, and now more and more they are looking to books, to short stories, and wherever they exist, however they exist, doesn't really matter except that there's some kind of platform that's allowing the story to be visible to everyone. So I don't think there is any more just one way of how scripts are getting made. Sometimes the script's made and then the book comes out. It's kind of, there's all kinds of different ways to the end product. But I wouldn't be surprised if this happens more and more. I think because of the internet, it's everything is available to all of us, and it takes just that click to find new material. And if somebody falls in love with the story, then they're going to go about making it into different variations. And of course, they're going to monetize it because that's just the culture we're in, which is commerce. But hopefully for somebody like Kate, who wrote it, Kate Marchand, Marchant, hopefully I'm saying her name right. It gave her an opportunity to become a real writer. And this was something that she wrote as a teenager, but now she's writing books. And I think for her, it's a great opportunity to really prove herself as a writer.
How was it working with the cast and with this phenomenal cast, including yourself? And as well, do you have a fond memory while you were filming?
That's a great question. I think my fondest memory was eating our first cast meal. Sharon wasn't present because I think she was scouting, or she might have even been shooting. But it was the first day that I got to set. And I think I was just doing costume fittings. Um, Sorry, my cat is biting. Stop it. But we sat down with Andrew, who's a producer, and Andrew Batchelor, who plays one of the characters in the film. His character name is escaping me right now. But
Jesse, if I'm not
Jesse,
mistaken.
thank you, Jesse. And Andrew he ordered like the sashimi exclusive premium platter, and it was a giant boat of sushi.
Whoa.
It was like 3 feet tall and like 5 feet wide. I'm not exaggerating. And he was like, "This is my portion." And and he was like, "And I've ordered two today." It was an insane amount of food. And I just remember loving it because I'm an Asian foodie and no one beats me when it comes to eating food. Like people are always like, "You eat a lot." And I'm like, "I know. I'm Asian. I eat a lot of food." And Andrew made me look like he made me look like I was on a diet or something. But that's one of my fondest memories, was watching Andrew order sushi that day. Um, yeah.
That's amazing. And um, how was the how was your chemistry with with the actress that plays Waverly? Were did you guys clicked off the bat when you did your first scene, or did you get to meet up before recording any scenes with her?
I don't remember if we were I don't remember if I don't think we did a table read. Usually you do a cast table read. I don't think we did a cast table read. Um, I don't recall because I know we did talk about, um, maybe we had a Zoom rehearsal, but I know we did talk about backstory. We talked about the backstory, and we got on the same page in terms of like what exactly what is our shared experience because we're relatives in this family. So I know we were able to get the backstory, all together, so we weren't playing two different backstories. Um, but I've kind of said this in the past, but when I'm working with somebody who is an Asian female of color, we have a very shared experience of what it's like to go through the industry, as artists who are of color, and being women, we have a shared understanding of what that experience is like. So I think we bring that unspoken experience to the process. And it was very easy to connect with Andrea. She's very present. She was very invested in her work as an actress. I could see her concentrating. And she's, just a really wonderful person. And it's easy when someone is nice because you can talk about the work, you can do the work, and then you can also kind of step out of the material too. So it was a very fluid process, very organic. And because we have a lot of respect for each other, I think it made sense all around. We were not catfighting off screen.
So, Michelle, I wanted to ask you this question because you've had quite an amazing career. You've been in countless series, films, and series that I did get to watch were you that you were part of, like The Secret Life of the American Teenager. I had another one here, General Hospital, Fringe, in other amazing shows that are renowned names. What will you tell if you could had a chance to sit down and talk to your younger self? What would you tell your younger self? Like being the fact that you had a cultural background, that you wanted to always be on the top of things because you wanted to be, I think I would say, positive with your family. What would you tell young Michelle?
It's such a great question. I ask myself that every day. I would probably, I would probably start with, it's okay to fail. It's not going to feel comfortable when you do it, but it'll be okay when you fail. And failing is the way that you grow. That would be one thing. Because I definitely was very afraid of failing in my early part of my career. When Rachel says you have to make yourself known, not just to the world, but to yourself, that's a lifelong journey that I think never ends. And that's something that I wish I had started earlier, that I could make myself known to myself, because I think I spent a lot of my time trying to make myself known to the world, but I never really understood what that visibility meant in a more complex and internal way. And then I think lastly, the journey I'm on right now is to find the God within yourself, that that instead of externalizing and looking out for all the answers and looking for the gods that exist in the culture outside. And I don't mean that religiously, I mean that spiritually. I mean that when you're looking for some kind of oracle to tell you the answers, don't look externally, look internally. For me, the Rachel character was someone who had the answers. And it was a metaphor for the fact that I think if we look deeply within ourselves, we already know the answers, but we sometimes don't listen to our intuition and our instinct. So that's what I would say.
That's amazing. One final question would be, if you could describe Float with one word, what would it be?
Freedom.
I like that answer. That's an amazing answer. Michelle, thank you very much for giving us the time to talk about the film Float. And I hope to see you once again here and interviewing you for another film.
Thank you. Thank you, John. It was nice meeting you.
Same here.